Captain Samuel Wright stood tall on the bridge of the Asterisk Frontier Asterisk, his eyes fixed on the massive alien ship ahead. It was 3 times the size of his vessel and shone like polished silver in the darkness of space. "Are you ready, Captain?" asked Dr. Lisa Bennett. Her voice was steady, but her eyes showed worry. "As ready as anyone can be for humanity's first meeting with the Accelerants," he replied. The diplomatic team gathered near the shuttle bay. Jack Daniels checked his sidearm one last time before hiding it under his formal jacket. Olivia Thompson reviewed her cultural notes. Chief Engineer Alan Garner inspected the shuttle systems. "Remember," said Captain Wright, "we represent all of humanity today. The Accelerants reached out to us, but that doesn't mean they come as friends." The small human shuttle left the Asterisk Frontier Asterisk and approached the giant Accelerant mothership. As they got closer, they saw the detailed patterns covering its hull, looking like ancient writing mixed with complex machinery. The Accelerant docking bay was enormous. Rows of guards stood at attention, their bodies covered in what looked like living armor. Each stood over 7 feet tall, with skin that shifted colors like oil on water. Supreme Commander Vex Thor waited at the center. Unlike the others, his armor was gold and black. His 4 eyes blinked at different times as he studied the humans. "Welcome, Earth representatives," Vex Thor said, his words translated through devices prepared ahead of time. "You honor us with your presence." Captain Wright stepped forward. "We come seeking friendship between our peoples." The Accelerants led them through long hallways to a large meeting room. The ceiling arched high above them, covered in moving images of stars and planets. At the meeting table, Captain Wright presented humanity's offer. "We propose peaceful sharing of the frontier regions. Both our species can explore and expand without conflict." The Accelerants listened quietly. Then Vex Thor spoke. "Your species is young. We have ruled the stars for 10,000 years. We allow you to exist in your current systems, but no further." Dr. Bennett noticed the translator used the word allow. She frowned. "We came to discuss cooperation, not to receive permission," Captain Wright said. "We suggest a joint exploration program. We could learn from each other." The mood in the room suddenly changed. The Accelerant Council members began speaking quickly among themselves, their skin flashing dark colors. Vex Thor rose to his full height. "You misunderstand your place. The galaxy belongs to the Accelerant Empire. All species serve their proper role within our order." Jack Daniels moved his hand closer to his hidden weapon. Olivia Thompson shook her head slightly at him. Captain Wright stood up slowly. His face remained calm, but his voice became firm. "We came as equals. We will not proceed otherwise." Silence filled the room. The Accelerants stared at the humans with all their eyes widened. "No species has ever walked away from our table," said Vex Thor, his voice lower than before. "Then perhaps it's time someone did," replied Captain Wright. He nodded to his team. "We're leaving." The human delegation turned and walked toward the door. Guards moved to block their path, but Vex Thor waved them away. As they boarded their shuttle, Dr. Bennett noticed strange activity among the Accelerants. "They seemed shocked," she whispered to Captain Wright. "I don't think anyone has ever refused them before." "Let's hope that gives them something to think about," he said. "Set course back to the Asterisk Frontier Asterisk. We need to report to Earth immediately." The shuttle departed the Accelerant mothership. Behind them, the massive alien vessel remained silent and still, like a predator watching prey that unexpectedly showed teeth. As they docked with the Asterisk Frontier Asterisk, Captain Wright looked back at the Accelerant ship. A feeling of unease settled in his stomach. Something told him that walking away from that table would have consequences none of them could predict. 3 weeks passed since the failed meeting with the Accelerants. Captain Wright sat in his quarters aboard the Asterisk Frontier Asterisk, reading reports from Earth colonies near Accelerant space, his brow furrowed with each new message. "Computer, call Dr. Bennett to my quarters," he said. Minutes later, Lisa Bennett arrived. "You've seen the reports?" she asked. "Yes, 3 outposts have gone silent in the past week. No warnings, no distress calls. Just silence. Lisa sat down across from him. Do you think it's them? Before Wright could answer, the ship's alarm sounded. They rushed to the bridge where Officer Jack Daniels waited with a grim face. Long-range sensors picked up unusual energy patterns, Jack said. Similar to Celeran ships, but different somehow. On Earth, Defense Secretary Catherine Walsh hurried through the United Earth Command building. Aides followed her with tablets showing the latest data. She entered the president's office without knocking. President Gregory Hudson looked up from his desk. I'm guessing you don't have good news, Kate. No, sir. We're detecting strange energy readings near our outer colonies, and we've lost contact with several outposts. Hudson stood up. The Xelorans. Most likely. Intelligence suggests they took our departure from negotiations as an insult. No species had ever walked away from them before. So what are they doing now? Asked the president. That's what worries me, Walsh replied. They're just watching. Waiting. On the mining colony of New Anchorage, Peter Collins wiped sweat from his forehead as he studied the seismic readings on his screen. Something wasn't right. The ground tremors didn't match any normal mining activity. Hey, Ellie, he called to his assistant. Come look at this. Ellie walked over. What's up, boss? Before Peter could answer, the emergency alarm blared through the facility. The floor beneath them shook. That's not a drill, Peter said, grabbing Ellie's arm. We need to get to the emergency shelter. They ran outside the control building and stopped dead in their tracks. The sky above New Anchorage was filled with massive ships. Their hulls gleamed silver and black against the colony's blue sky. Celeran warships, whispered Ellie. All across the colony, people stopped and stared upward. The alien ships hovered silently. They didn't attack. They didn't send messages. They just watched. For 3 days, the Celeran fleet maintained positions above human settlements throughout the sector. No demands came. No communications arrived. Just silent, threatening presence. On the research station Horizon *, Dr. Megan Wright worked frantically at her computer. As Captain Wright's sister, she had access to all the Celeran communication data collected during the failed meeting. I think I found something, she told her team. Look at these patterns in their signals. Her colleague Ben looked at the screen. What am I seeing? This silence isn't random. It's methodical. According to what we know of their history, this is part of a ritual they perform before what they call species cleansing. Ben's face paled. You mean genocide? Essentially, yes. They're not communicating because in their culture, the condemned aren't worthy of words. The silence is part of the judgment. Back on Earth, President Hudson called an emergency meeting with all military leaders. Secretary Walsh presented the latest findings. Dr. Megan Wright believes this silence is ritualistic, she explained. The Xelorans are preparing for a full-scale attack. How long do we have? Asked the president. Based on their patterns, days at most. They're positioning ships near all our major colonies and Earth itself. President Hudson looked at the worried faces around him. Then we prepare for war. Alert all colonies. Evacuate civilians where possible. And may God help us all. As night fell on New Anchorage, Peter Collins watched the looming ships through the window of the emergency bunker. Their lights blinked in patterns that seemed almost like a countdown. What do you think they're waiting for? Asked Ellie. I don't know, Peter replied. But I think we're about to find out. The attack began without warning. One moment, the Celeran ships hung silently in the sky above New Anchorage. The next, beams of bright energy sliced through the colony's defensive shields. Peter Collins grabbed Ellie's hand. We need to get to the emergency transports. Around them, buildings crumbled. The mining colony's small military unit fired back, but their weapons barely scratched the Celeran ships. Peter led a group of 20 miners through underground tunnels toward the emergency bay. Above them, the sound of destruction grew louder. The main colony is gone, gasped the miner who joined them from the surface. They destroyed the communication center first, then the defense grid. When they reached the emergency bay, only 2 transport ships remained intact. Peter rushed to the controls of one. "Everyone get in. We leave in 2 minutes." As their transport lifted off, Peter looked down at the burning colony. Strangely, he noticed the Accelerons were leaving some buildings untouched, mainly research facilities and data centers. On Earth, chaos erupted as Acceloran warships appeared in the sky. They had somehow bypassed the outer system defenses using technology humans had never seen before. Secretary Walsh rushed into the president's underground bunker. "Mr. President, they're targeting military installations first. We need to activate Omega Protocol." President Hudson nodded grimly. "Do it. Disperse leadership to secure locations. Make sure the chain of command remains intact." Walsh looked at her tablet. "Sir, there's something odd about their attack pattern. They're specifically avoiding certain civilian areas." "What does that mean?" "I don't know, but it feels deliberate." On Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, the research colony sent desperate distress calls. Captain Wright and the Frontier responded, arriving to find destruction beyond imagination. "Get medical teams to the surface," ordered Wright. "Search for survivors." Chief Engineer Alan Garner led the first rescue team. As they worked through the ruined colony, he noticed something puzzling. "Captain," he reported over the comm, "the Accelerons specifically targeted communication arrays and weapons research. But they left the biological labs intact." Captain Wright frowned. "That's not random. They're being selective." Dr. Lisa Bennett joined him on the bridge, her face pale after studying recovered Acceloran battle communications. "I've figured out their strategy," she said. "They don't just want to defeat us. They want to study us. Each attack follows a pattern. Destroy defenses, disable communications, then collect data." "You mean they're treating this like some kind of experiment?" Wright asked. "Exactly. They're not just conquering. They're researching." Meanwhile, on the colony world of New Terra, something unexpected was happening. The colonists, led by Governor Frank Miller, had organized a resistance. "They'll be coming over that ridge in 5 minutes," Frank told the gathered colonists. "Everyone know their positions." The men and women nodded, clutching modified farming equipment and mining tools. Some had hunting rifles. None had proper military weapons. "Remember, aim for the joints in their armor," Frank said. "That's where they're vulnerable." When the Acceleran ground troops crested the ridge, they were met with an unexpected sight. Instead of fleeing humans, they found a prepared defense line. Mining explosives detonated under their feet. Modified harvesting machines charged forward, their blades cutting through alien armor. The Acceleran commander called for reinforcements, clearly surprised by the resistance. But the colonists had the advantage of knowing the terrain. By nightfall, the impossible had happened. The colonists of New Terra had pushed back the first wave of Acceleran troops. In his makeshift command center, Frank received reports from scouts. "They're regrouping," a young woman told him. "Looks like they're calling down more ships." Frank nodded. "We've won today. That's enough for now." He looked at the tired faces around him. They thought we would just surrender. They were wrong. Word of New Terra's resistance spread quickly through human communications. For the first time since the attack began, a spark of hope appeared. Humans could fight back. 6 months passed. The war with the Accelerans had pushed humanity to the edge of defeat. Earth's orbital defenses lay in ruins. Major cities were damaged beyond recognition. Yet something strange had happened. The final attack that would end humanity never came. In a deep underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, President Hudson met with the remaining military leaders. The room was dimly lit, filled with maps and screens showing the current situation. "We've lost contact with colonies in the Ta-Ceti system," reported General Martinez. "But our scouts report that the Accelerans aren't destroying everything. They're building research facilities on conquered territories." Secretary Walsh nodded. Reports from resistance groups confirm it. They're capturing humans for study. But why? Asked the president. No one had an answer. In a hidden research lab, Dr. Megan Wright worked with captured Celeran technology. For weeks, she and her team had studied the alien devices, looking for any weakness. Look at this energy pattern, she told her assistant while pointing at a screen. When we hit it with this specific electromagnetic frequency, the system completely fails. Her assistant leaned closer. Is that consistent across all their tech? Yes, I've tested it on everything we've captured. The Celerans never thought to shield against this frequency because no known species uses it. It's like they have a blind spot. Meanwhile, on the conquered colony of New Anchorage, Peter Collins hid in the ruins of the mining facility. He led a small group of survivors who watched the Celerans from hiding. They're bringing in more humans, whispered Ellie as they observed Acceleran Research Center. From different colonies. Peter nodded. But why? What are they looking for? That night, Peter and two others snuck into the research center through an old mining tunnel. They moved silently through the dark halls until they found a room filled with Celeran data screens. One of Peter's companions, a former tech specialist named Roy, connected a device to the alien computer. I can only copy some of their files before they detect us. The information they stole revealed something unexpected. The Celerans were studying human brain patterns during stress and fear. They seemed particularly interested in how humans responded to hopeless situations. Look at this, Roy said, pointing to translated text. They're confused because humans get more determined when facing impossible odds. Other species they've conquered simply gave up. They're afraid of us, Peter realized. Not of our weapons or technology, but of something in our nature. On the other side of the system, Captain Wright commanded one of the few remaining Earth ships. His crew was tired but determined. Their mission: rescue captured scientists from Acceleran Research Station. 3 minutes to target, reported his navigator. All hands prepare for battle. Wright ordered. Remember, our goal is to get our people out, not win a fight we can't win. The raid was quick and successful. Among the rescued prisoners was Dr. Lisa Bennett, captured during a previous battle. As the ship escaped into deep space, she shared crucial information. The Celerans have a strictly hierarchical command structure, she explained to Captain Wright. Every action requires approval from above. Remove the leadership, and their forces become disorganized. So if we can take out their command centers, Wright began. Exactly. They can't adapt without orders. It's built into their biology and culture. Wright immediately sent the information to Earth using a secure channel. Combined with Dr. Megan Wright's discovery about the electromagnetic vulnerability, a plan began to form. In the underground command center, President Hudson studied the new information. So we have two weaknesses to exploit, he said. Their technology is vulnerable to certain frequencies, and their command structure can't function without leadership. Secretary Walsh nodded. For the first time, we have a chance. Then let's take it, said the president. Prepare a counterattack. It's time humanity showed the Celerans why they were right to fear us. Earth's remaining scientists worked day and night in the underground labs. Using Dr. Megan Wright's discovery, they built devices they called pulse bombs, weapons that emitted the electromagnetic frequencies that disrupted Celeran technology. We've made 50 so far, Dr. Wright told President Hudson during a video call. They're not pretty, but they work. We've tested them on captured Celeran equipment. How large is the effect range? Asked Secretary Walsh. About half a mile radius for the big ones, less for the portable versions. They'll temporarily disable their shields and weapons for about 3 minutes. That's our window then, President Hudson said. We need to coordinate attacks across all fronts. Using hidden communication channels, Earth leadership contacted resistance groups on all human colonies. The plan was simple but daring. Simultaneous attacks on Celeran research facilities and command centers. Captain Wright volunteered to lead the most dangerous mission, an attack on the Accelerant command vessel orbiting Earth. For this task, he had assembled a small fleet of retrofitted civilian ships. "These aren't military vessels," he told his pilots. "They're mining ships, cargo haulers, and passenger liners we've modified for battle. The Accelerants won't expect much from them. They'll expect even less from the crews," added Jack Daniels, now Wright's second in command. "Miners, engineers, and teachers instead of soldiers. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon is the one your enemy doesn't see as a threat," Wright replied. On colony worlds across human space, resistance fighters prepared for action. On New Terra, Frank Miller's forces had grown stronger, with hundreds of colonists now trained in guerrilla tactics. "Our job is to draw their attention while others plant the pulse bombs," Frank told his people. "We attack from the east, make plenty of noise, while our tech team sneaks in from the west." On New Anchorage, Peter Collins led a similar mission. "The research facility is our primary target," he told his team. "We disable it, free any human prisoners, and capture their data if possible." The coordinated attack began at the same moment across 27 human worlds. On Earth, Captain Wright's fleet of civilian ships emerged from hiding behind the moon. "All ships, activate stealth systems," Wright ordered. The makeshift fleet moved toward Earth, their engines modified to give off signatures similar to space debris. Accelerant patrols passed within miles without detecting them. When they were in position, Wright gave the order. "Now." All ships activated their pulse bombs simultaneously. Blue energy waves spread outward, washing over the Accelerant vessels. As predicted, the alien ships' lights flickered and went dark as their systems failed. "All teams, move in," Wright ordered. His flagship approached the massive Accelerant command ship directly. Instead of attacking with weapons, a small team led by Jack Daniels launched from Wright's ship in boarding pods. They attached to the Accelerant vessel's hull and cut their way inside. "We're in," Jack reported, moving toward the command center. The Accelerant crew, confused without their technology and cut off from leadership, put up disorganized resistance. Jack's team fought their way through the ship until they reached the command center. There, they found Supreme Commander Vex Thor, the same Accelerant who had met with humans during first contact. Jack's team captured him alive. "Commander secured," Jack reported to Wright. "Repeat, we have Vex Thor." Across human space, similar successes followed. The pulse bombs worked exactly as designed, temporarily crippling Accelerant systems. Without clear commands from their leaders, the alien forces fell into disarray. On New Terra, Frank Miller's forces captured 3 intact Accelerant vessels. On New Anchorage, Peter Collins freed 200 human prisoners from the research facility. For the first time since the war began, humanity had gained the upper hand. But Captain Wright knew this advantage wouldn't last long. They needed to use this moment wisely. "Bring Vex Thor to my ship," he ordered Jack, "and tell Dr. Bennett to prepare for the most important conversation of her life." Supreme Commander Vex Thor sat in a secure room aboard Captain Wright's ship. His golden armor had been removed, revealing skin that shifted between blue and gray. 4 eyes blinked at different times as he studied the humans around him. Dr. Lisa Bennett entered with Captain Wright. "I never expected we would meet again like this," she said to the Accelerant leader. "Nor did I," replied Vex Thor. His voice was calm despite his capture. "You have surprised us once more. Why did you attack us?" Captain Wright asked directly. "We only walked away from negotiations." Vex Thor's skin rippled with dark colors. "That is precisely why. In 10,000 years of expansion, no species has ever walked away from our table. It suggested a power we did not understand." Dr. Bennett leaned forward. "You attacked us because we refused your terms." "We attacked because you showed no fear," Vex Thor explained. "Species that do not fear the Accelerant Empire must either be foolish or powerful beyond our knowledge. We could not risk the latter." As Dr. Bennett continued speaking with Vex Thor, she made a startling discovery. The common Cellorans were essentially enslaved by their leadership caste through biological control methods. The control devices were built into their armor. Your people aren't conquerors by choice, she realized. They're being controlled. It is our way for countless generations, Vexthor admitted. The lower castes serve, the higher castes lead. This is the natural order. On Earth, President Hudson received Dr. Bennett's report with shock. The entire Accelerant society is built on enslaving their own people. Secretary Walsh nodded. According to Bennett's findings, yes. And with Vexthor in custody, their command structure is falling apart. A military advisor spoke up. This is our chance to destroy them completely. President Hudson was quiet for a moment. Then he shook his head. No, I have a different idea. Against the advice of his military leaders, Hudson approved a bold plan. Instead of continuing the war, they would offer Vexthor a genuine alliance, one that would free ordinary Accelerants while establishing peace. Captain Wright returned to his ship with the president's orders. We're going to broadcast a message to all Accelerant ships and colonies, he told Dr. Bennett. I need you to help prepare it. Together with Vexthor's reluctant assistance, they crafted a message. In a carefully staged broadcast, Dr. Bennett presented evidence of the High Council's control over their own people. She explained how the leadership had manipulated them for generations. The humans do not wish to destroy the Accelerant people, she said in the broadcast. We offer a different path, freedom from control and a true alliance between our species. The response was immediate and unexpected. Throughout Accelerant territory, lower castes began removing their control devices. Ships stopped attacking. Some Accelerant officers tried to maintain order, but without the central leadership, their commands were ignored. On New Anchorage, Peter Collins watched in amazement as Accelerant soldiers laid down their weapons. They're surrendering, he told Ellie. But it doesn't look like defeat. They look relieved. Reports came in from across human space. The rebellion was spreading faster than anyone had anticipated. Accelerant ships were standing down, and some were even requesting to join human forces. On Earth, Olivia Thompson, the cultural anthropologist from the First Contact team, began working with Accelerant defectors. As she learned more about their society, she made an important discovery. Beneath their militaristic exterior, Accelerants have a rich cultural tradition, she reported to President Hudson. They value harmony and balance. These qualities were suppressed by generations of authoritarian leadership. Captain Wright sat with Vexthor, watching reports of the spreading rebellion. Your empire is falling, Wright said, but your people might survive. Perhaps this is necessary. Vexthor replied, his skin now a calm blue color. You humans have done something no weapon could accomplish. When you walked away from our table, you began a change that may save us all. 2 years passed since the first human delegation walked away from the Accelerant negotiating table. Today, representatives from both species gathered on the rebuilt Europa station. The meeting room looked very different from the Grand Hall on the Accelerant mothership where they first met. Captain Wright, now Admiral Wright, led the human delegation. His uniform carried new medals for bravery, but his expression remained the same, calm, determined, and watchful. The Accelerant delegation entered, led by reformed Commander Zeckler. Unlike Vexthor, Zeckler wore simple clothing instead of imposing armor. His skin maintained a steady blue color, showing his calm state of mind. On behalf of the new Accelerant Alliance, I formally apologize for the war we brought upon your people, Zeckler began. His words were direct, without the grand speeches Accelerants once favored. We accept your apology, Admiral Wright replied, and we welcome this new chapter between our species. Dr. Lisa Bennett, now Earth's chief diplomat to the Accelerants, smiled as she watched. The past 2 years had been difficult but rewarding. After the fall of the Accelerant leadership caste, their society reorganized itself. The biological control devices were destroyed, allowing all Accelerants to think freely for the first time in thousands of years. Zeckler continued, where once we sought domination, we now seek integration and cooperation. We offer to combine Celeran technology with human creativity. President Hudson, attending via secure video link, nodded. Together, we can accomplish more than either of us could alone. The meeting concluded with the signing of the Europa Accord, a treaty of peace and cooperation between humans and Celerans. Later, at a small reception, a young diplomat asked Admiral Wright the question many still wondered about: why did you choose to walk away during first contact? Didn't you know it might lead to war? Wright considered the question carefully. We walked away because equality is non-negotiable for humanity. We couldn't accept terms that made us less than equal partners. Such a simple act, the diplomat mused. Walking away changed everything. Sometimes the most powerful statement is knowing when to leave the table, Wright replied. On New Anchorage, now a thriving mixed community, Peter Collins worked alongside Celeran engineers to build the first joint colony ship. The vessel combined Celeran drive technology with human life support systems, creating something neither species could have built alone. This ship will travel farther than any human or Celeran has gone before, Peter told a group of visitors touring the construction site. Next month, it leaves to explore beyond known space. Dr. Megan Wright led a combined research initiative on Earth. Human and Celeran scientists applied their shared knowledge to solve Earth's lingering environmental problems. Already, the damaged cities were being rebuilt using advanced materials that could withstand almost any natural disaster. After the main ceremony on Europa, Dr. Bennett found herself in a quiet conversation with reformed Commander Zekler. There is something I wish to tell you, Zekler said. Something about the impact humans have had on the galaxy. I'm listening, Bennett replied. For thousands of years, we believed power came from creating fear in others. You showed us a greater power, the power of walking away from fear itself. Zeklar's skin brightened to a clear blue. The moment humans walked away, doom followed. Not for you, but for our misguided empire. And from that doom came our salvation. 6 months later, a new diplomatic mission prepared to make contact with another, previously unknown alien civilization discovered at the edge of explored space. The delegation included both humans and Celerans, approaching together as equals. Admiral Wright watched the mission ship depart from Europa Station. Dr. Bennett stood beside him. Do you think they'll need to walk away from any negotiations? She asked with a small smile. I hope not, Wright replied. But if they do, they'll know exactly when to do it. As the ship disappeared into the distance, Wright reflected on how a single decision had changed the course of two civilizations. Sometimes walking away wasn't an end, but a beginning.